Also today I got a replacement for this old school shop light. This is the kind that takes a T12 bulb. I don't know, I think it phased out a decade ago. So in the event that I drop it, I don't want to have the bulbs in there anymore. I'm going to turn it off, take the bulbs out. I only have 2 screws holding it up because they're not very heavy, and go from there. So I'm going to measure the hole, where the hole should be, and I'm measuring to that smaller spot where the slot is, not where the main hole is, because I need to put it on and then slide it down. So all right, so it's a pretty good day here today. Package delivery day, and I got a pack of, I think it was 250 seed pouches that you can have the label on them and everything, seed name, variety, date collected, and growing notes. That's going to come in handy. To this day, I've always just used the snack size zip top baggies, and I don't really like using that much plastic. These are made out of paper and a lot easier to write on. Don't need a permanent marker to write on them. And also today I got a replacement for this old school shop light. This is the kind that takes a T12 bulb. I don't know, I think it phased out a decade ago as far as buying it in stores, but it's what I had around. And I'm going to turn it on here and pull the camera up to the side of it. You can hear it. Right now I've got it on a timer, so it comes on. It's just supplemental light, since with the daylight hours are so short here during the winter. But if I hold it up close, you can hear that hum. That's from the ballast. It's called the ballast. You can think of it basically as an ignition, a starter system for old school fluorescent bulbs. All fluorescent bulbs need a ballast, but that hum that you're hearing in this, and you're probably used to it from old movies or old library visits or something like that, you can hear the hum. But when they hum like this, that's a good sign that they're starting to get old and worn out. And it's no surprise, because I think I got this 20 years ago. I had it hanging in my parents' garage, and not too long ago I asked my mom, she wasn't using it for anything, so I pulled it back in here. But now that I have this new light that I got pretty recently, this one's LED, so it's going to be significantly more efficient. It's not going to have that hum, because I do like to do some potting up and everything out here and relaxing sometimes, and I don't like having that hum. That hum just annoys me. I just know it's energy and stuff being wasted. So I'm going to hurry and unplug it, but first I want to take the bulbs out. Don't want to breathe in the dust that's inside of these bulbs, and I don't want glass everywhere. So in the event that I drop it, I don't want to have the bulbs in there anymore. I'm going to turn it off, take the bulbs out. I only have 2 screws holding it up because they're not very heavy, and go from there. I could swear I put a 10mm on this side, but apparently I remembered incorrectly. I need to go grab a different size. 9mm. Embarrassing. All right, now I'm going to open it up, the new light, and the new one is significantly more low profile than the old one. It's a lot smaller, a lot lighter. I don't have to get it so tight to the ceiling to avoid hitting my head on it. So this is going to be good. So we have a few things to consider so I can install this new light. It looks like we have this type of slot that's meant for a screw head that's small enough to fit through this part of the slot, and then when you slide the light down, it can hold it in place. So the head has to be big enough to hold it in there. Now these screws that I have here are stainless steel, which I opted to use since we're going to be in a humid environment. Being out here in the greenhouse, I want to make sure it's not something that'll get rusty and have any problems over time. So I need to find my tape measure here. First thing I'm going to do, I want the light to be on the far end of the greenhouse. On this end where the camera's at, I have my water, rain barrel, and some other plants. They don't really need so much light. Most of my plants for right now are going to be down on this end of the greenhouse. So I'm going to mount it down that direction. So I'm going to measure the hole, where the hole should be, and I'm measuring to that smaller spot where the slot is, not where the main hole is, because I need to put it on and then slide it down. I'm going to put that at 2.5 inches should be sufficient right there, and so 2.5 inches away, but I want to give myself a little bit of wiggle room, so I'm going to measure 3.5 inches, give myself an extra inch. Three and a half inches, and it just so happens to be that that's where the hole is for my previous light that I had hanging up there. That's a lucky day. I'm going to measure the distance from this hole down to the next hole, how long that needs to be. We're looking at 40. It's too short in here for me to be able to show you this one, but we're going to go with 40 1/4. So, measure from that hole 40 1/4. It's going to be right there. There's a little mark I can see on the metal. Line it up right there. Measure twice, cut once. Double check it. 40 1/4. Should be good. I will note that the mark that I made is a little bit off from 40 1/4. It was a little bit too short, so I'm going to make a new mark. And I just have to remember which one I made. I'm going to use a drill here to pre-drill the hole on this side, especially this one has a steel plate. It's kind of the reinforcement for the roof here. So pre-drilling, got to be careful that I don't go all the way up. That was the other consideration when I chose the screw. The screw is long enough, wherever I put it. The screw is long enough to hang down where it needs to hook onto the light, but I don't want it to be so long that it's going to poke up through the top of the greenhouse. Obviously, that's not a good thing. I'm going to go ahead and drill this now. Time to sharpen that drill bit. That's for another video. Right. The inconvenient thing about this screw that I chose is it's got a square head on it. I have a pretty cheap, comes with all sorts of different bit shapes and sizes. So I'm just going to take the screw, find the square where the square bits are at, and chose the one that's going to be the right fit. In order to have enough length, I barely needed to put the screw in the ceiling. That's nice and secure. Nice and secure as well. All right, let's see. Hopefully everything's measured correctly. You know what? I think I might need a slightly longer screw, where this one was already drilled out from the other light. I had to screw it up a little bit farther to get it to bite and be secure. Give it one more try, see if I'm just missing it. Nope. Need a longer screw. Found a new screw. It's not a stainless steel screw, but it is a deck screw, so it's still rated for being outdoors without rusting nearly as easily as, say, a drywall screw, which I also have laying around. But this part of the roof, the peak, is got a double layer to it. So there's the part on the outside, and then this part that I'm screwing into on the inside. That way, told you I didn't want too long of a screw, so this screw is going to be long enough, but again, not too long that it pokes through the top layer of the roofing. And hopefully we'll be set to go this time. Give it a go. And I don't have to use the silly square this time, because these are just regular Phillips heads. But since I said that, I realized I haven't taken out the previous screw yet on this side. Now let's see if it hangs up. And it's in. Now I need to run the wires. Cool thing about this new light that I have, I should have showed you, but on that other end, there's a plug. It's this 2-prong. So these are, what do they call it? They're linkable. I can link up to 4 lights of this. So next year or the year after, perhaps, I'm saving for a little bit bigger of a greenhouse. You can see I'm kind of tight in here. My head's pretty close to the ceiling. I want one that's taller by about 2 feet and quite a bit bigger, so I can have more stuff. I want to kind of use it as a sunroom as well. Extension of the house without actually being attached. So one place for seating. I'm probably going to get rid of this chain. Don't really like that idea, but anyway, I'm going to plug this to the cord I already have up in there. Try to tuck away some of the lights, excuse me, the wire, so it's out of the way and hidden and looks nice. And I'll be all done. I'll have the new LED set up. Figured I'd show you what I figured out for getting the wires hidden out of the way. Just got the twist tie that came with the light. It was holding the cord together. I'm going to stick it up on one of these bolts that's sticking through the roof and really kind of pull it tight. I twist it a few times to tighten that up around that bolt that's sticking through. And then I can twist it around the wire as well. Try to pull it a little bit tight so it cleans things up over there. Took those wires out of the way. And I figured I would tuck the remaining wire, rest it up on top of the light. You can tuck it up in there and with a little bit of elbow grease. Hopefully it'll stay up there. Didn't show you, but I had pulled the diffuser screen off to see if there was a good way to mount the light through drilling through like this. Just wanted to see what my options were, but got this all dirty. Clean it off a little bit and hang it back in, and then we'll test it out. That was entirely too difficult, but it's done. Fortunately with LEDs, this one says it should last 45 years, so I won't be around to have to replace it, hopefully. So I've got this light hooked up to a smart switch, so it comes on around when it starts to get dark here. My goal is just, as I mentioned earlier, to extend the daylight hours, try to trick the plants into not slowing down or going dormant or going to sleep for the winter. And I have a picture of my previous house. There's the street lamp next to 2 of my pear trees at my previous house that had 4 different colors, because we had an early snowstorm that year. So I had white from the snow on one side, then green, then yellow, and then red, or maybe a different order. But I had those 4 different colors because the leaves stayed green on the side nearest to the street light. They didn't get their cue to sleep as early. They, the way I understand it, they need the amount of daylight hours and the temperatures and the angle of the sun all have an effect on when the trees go dormant and let their leaves fall down. So at any rate, it was interesting to see that street light affected it so much. So that's my plan for having this light in here, since the hours are so short right now in our winter. Hopefully having the light on will keep some of these plants from going dormant, because I want them to be in here for my enjoyment in the greenhouse. I'm not necessarily having many of these plants for next year's garden or anything like that. So I wanted to take a break from installing the light and cleaning up to show you that I had some house sparrows that came to take a swim in my bird bath over here. It's nice to see them. I haven't had many birds this year for some reason. I can't quite figure it out. I've just replaced the food in all my feeders and everything. Hopefully they'll start to come around a little bit more. The house finches like to nest in my neighbor's solar panels up over there. So they're local residents as far as I'm concerned. It's fun to see them in my bird bath at least. I know it's in the middle of the day here, but got the light all wired in, all done. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a try. I have it on a smart switch, but seeing how I'm recording from my phone, I can't use that to turn it on. So if you excuse me, I'll bend down here and we'll see if everything works. And there's light. I'm gonna go ahead and just cut this chain off here. Not so short that I can't use it, because if I ever want to turn it off by pulling on it, I want that option still. But I'm gonna cut it pretty short otherwise, so it doesn't hit me in the head. And that's it for installing this light. Hopefully next year, next time I have to deal with this light, it'll be when I have a bigger greenhouse, so we'll keep our fingers crossed.